Hey y'all, it's Laura and welcome back to another Cocoa Vanilla Studio design video, and this one is using the brand new collection Happy Days. I absolutely love the purple pop in this gorgeous collection, and I have had these two photos sitting on my desk for quite a while trying to find just the perfect collection to scrap them with. And when I saw this beautiful purple paper, I had to use it for this layout. I was so excited, and it works beautifully as a nice little base for my photos. Now these are two photos from Thanksgiving of last year when my kids and I drove up to Michigan, where my family is from, and we went up there for Thanksgiving, had a great time with some family that we haven't seen in a long time, and I just wanted to document this little moment with my aunt, who is someone who's very near and dear to my heart and to my kids. So I wanted to give her her own page to kind of celebrate her and the relationship that we have with her, and talk a little, just like beginning the talk about our trip to Michigan. And so I'm bringing in a lot of bits and pieces here. On the left side, I have an embellishment tray that I just get from Amazon. It's just a plastic condiment tray, and I use it to dump out my embellishments. On the top left compartment, I have the cut aparts in both the 12 by 12 and in the A5 paper stack cut apart. I have the two ephemera packs, the regular icon ephemera and then the floral ephemera in the bottom two parts of that compartment. But I do trim off the white edges on a lot of those pieces just because I think that they cluster better together if they don't have a white edge. But I know some people love the way that white edge looks to highlight those pieces. I just prefer them to kind of blend in. Now, I really wanted to get some of these beautiful puffy hearts onto this layout. That was something that I was like, yes, absolutely needs to get onto this layout in not necessarily as a focal point in any way, but I just wanted them to kind of stand out just a little bit as something kind of fun and different. I really like these little plush hearts, and they kind of a fabric with a puffy cotton in the middle, and I really like them. And so I wanted to give them a little bit of a presence on this page. So what I'm going to do with them is tuck them in with some labels here at the bottom, and that will be my journaling spot. Now, when I was creating this layout, I really wanted to make sure that I didn't go too busy, too crazy, because otherwise you're going to detract from your photos. Particularly these photos, which have a lot of color in them, have a lot of people in them. I do have 5 kids, and so they, of course, when we all get together, are a pretty big crowd, and I wanted to make sure that I was giving my photos a chance to stay at the forefront, stay the focus, but still have a bit of a play, still add in some pretty things, and just trying to find that balance between making the photos shine and embellishing the page. And so I think this layout does a pretty good job of that, of really giving these photos the opportunity to stand out and to be the story, to be the stars of the show, if you will. And in the background, you have some lovely little pretty things and a little area for journaling, and I just kept it fairly simple. And I think that works really well when you have large photos, because I have one on the left that's 4x6, one on the right that's 3x4, and also when you have multiple photos that have a busy subject. When you have photos that are a little bit calmer, there's only maybe one person in the photo, or it's just photos of things like flowers that are growing in your garden, or a place that you went to visit that maybe doesn't have as much of a attention-grabbing, exciting subject, or is just not as busy, then I think you can go a little busier with your embellishing and it doesn't take away from the photos. But when you have busy photos, I find that it's better to go simple and to keep the focus on those photos and just add just enough embellishment to make them look nice, to make them look pretty, to make them look showcased on the page. So that's usually what I'm going for. Now with the Happy Days collection, it has a beautiful mix of really rich colors, and I'm really enjoying that. We've had a lot of kind of pastels in the past from Cocoa Vanilla, which I also love, but these bright, bold colors just make me grin. I absolutely love them. And I am a bright, bold person, generally speaking, as far as color is concerned, I'm a big fan of playing with color, not only in my scrapbooking, but also in my home and in my own clothes. And as you can see, my kids are the same way. We all love to wear big, bold, bright colors, and I think that this beautiful, beautiful collection just perfectly matched these photos, and I was very excited about that. Love when you can find that perfect color match for photos. There's just something so satisfying about that, and this was a great case of that. Now, if you do have photos that don't necessarily have a good mix of colors, one thing you can do, and I do occasionally, is to turn them black and white, which makes them a little easier to scrap. This is especially true if your subject is quite simple. Then it's nice to go with a black and white photo. Or if you just want to downplay the colors a little bit, you can play around with the saturation and the contrast when you're printing your photos, and that can help you maybe dial back some colors that you're just not interested in playing with and accentuating colors that you have more interest in. Now, I really wanted this layout to have a cohesive look on the page, but I also wanted this purple square in the background to feel like it has a purpose, that it's not just floating there in space. And I find giving borders to big sections of paper like this really helps them to feel like they belong, like it's intentionally placed, and as though these borders just give it a little bit more detailing as well. So on the bottom, I have included a manufacturing strip from one of the Happy Days papers, and then I will come in with one of the border strips from the cut apart paper and add that as well, just to add a little bit more interest, a little bit more detail to the page without continuing to add to the page. So this is pretty much the extent of the embellishing that I'm going to do on this layout. I did keep it very, very simple for a reason. And you'll see how these small details like these borders can help kind of dress it up and give it a little bit more interest without going overboard. So what I decided to do is add these lovely rainbows and add them kind of like a scalloped border on the bottom of my little purple section, and then I added the yellow strip up at the top, and there you see it adds just that little bit more detail, something a little bit more interesting than just the purple square, gives it a little bit more definition, and because I'm layering, it looks a little bit more in depth, and I really, really enjoy that look on this page. Now all I'm going to do is just trim out this border strip here, and then I'm going to, off camera, trim it down to just those rainbow scallops at the bottom, and then I'll tape everything down onto the page. So as you can see, everything's taped in place, and I really, really like where this went afterwards. So I pulled in a sticker from the 6x12 sticker sheet that's going to function kind of like you would use a piece of tape to stick a photo onto, I don't know, the wall, the fridge. I wanted to give it kind of that look, like you had just pulled off a piece of washi and just stuck it down and added something onto a page just with washi. And so that's what I was going for with that little sticker up at the top. And I kind of like how that looks. It just feels a little bit more fun, a little bit more whimsical. And that's definitely the vibe that these photos have. Now these tiny, tiny little puffy sticker hearts are absolutely gorgeous. And I had to get them on the page. They're so pretty. And they're the perfect little small scattering detail pieces to add at the very end of your layouts. And there's a million of them on this little packet. It doesn't look very big, but there are so many of these little puppy stickers on here, and they're gonna go for ages and ages, I can already tell. I also added some little circle-shaped ones up at the top on either side of my little heart-shaped banner. Just thought that, again, it gave it a little bit more presence on the page and a little bit more of a use, and I really, really like how this one turned out. Now, I do have additional photos up on the blog if you want to check that out, cocovanilla.com.au. There is a huge amount of inspiration, not only for how to use Cocoa Vanilla collections, but how to use any collections, and sometimes there's really fun themes as well. So be sure to check that out and see all of the design team's incredible layouts. They are so creative, and I am constantly amazed at the things that they come up with. And so I definitely encourage you to check that out. That's it for this one, guys. I do hope you have enjoyed it. Finishing it off with some splattering. I use some Nuvo drops for some controlled splatter, and then I use some gold ink spray for uncontrolled splatter around the outside of my clusters, and that finishes this page. Until next time, bye y'all.